Her body disappeared, a journey into the spirit realm. In the heart of Lagos, amidst the bustling market and the ever-present hum of traffic, there lived a young journalist named Amina Adebayo. With her keen eyes for details and a nose for uncovering hidden truths, she had quickly made a name for herself at the Lagos Daily News. One fateful morning, as she sifted through the endless email and news tip, a subject line caught her attention: urgent, missing woman, strange circumstances. The email was from a man named Bode Ogunleye, a distraught husband who claimed his wife Kemi had disappeared under inexplicable conditions. Intrigued, Amina arranged a meeting at a cafe in Surulere. Bode was a tall, gaunt man in his early 30s with a haunted look in his eyes. Over a cup of coffee, he recounted a bizarre event leading to Kemi's disappearance. "It happened just a week ago," Bode began, his voice trembling. "Kemi and I had gone to bed as usual. Everything was normal, but when I woke up in the next morning, she was gone. At first, I thought she had gone to the market early, but all her belongings were still there. Her phone, her purse, even her shoes were by the bed. It was as if she had vanished into thin air." Amina's curiosity was piqued. "Did you contact the police?" "Yes," Bode replied, "but they couldn't find any lead. No sign of forced entry, no weaknesses. They think she left voluntarily, but I know Kemi. She wouldn't have just left without a word." Amina leaned forward, her journalist instinct on high alert. "Did anything unusual happen before she disappeared? Any argument, strange occurrence?" Bode hesitated before answering. "There was one thing. A week before she vanished, Kemi started complaining about feeling watched. She said she could sense someone following her, even inside the house. I dismissed it as paranoia, but now I am not so sure." As Amina listened, she felt a chill run down her spine. There was something deeply unsettling about this case. She promised Bode she would look into it and left the cafe with a sense of foreboding. Back at her apartment, Amina delved into the case, sifting through police reports and Kemi's social media profiles. The more she dug, the more perplexing the case became. Kemi had no known enemies, no history of mental illness, and no reason to disappear voluntarily. The next day, Amina decided to visit Kemi and Bode's home. It was a modest bungalow in a quiet neighborhood. Bode greeted her at the door, and she could see the strain of the past week etched on his face. "Thank you for coming," he said, leading her inside. "Maybe you will see something the police missed." Amina walked through the house, noting the neatness of Kemi's personal items, the ordinary domesticity of the setting. But as she entered the bedroom, a sense of unease settled over her. The bed was neatly made, with Kemi's slippers placed by the side, exactly as Bode has described. She inspected the windows, the locks are on the doors, and even the garden outside, but found nothing unusual. Frustrated, she turned to Bode. "Are you sure there wasn't anything else? Something small, something you might have overlooked?" Bode shook his head, but then paused. "There was one more thing. The night before she disappeared, Kemi found a strange symbol carved into the floor of her bedroom. It was small, almost unnoticeable, but it scared her. She said it looked like some kind of rune." Amina paused, quickened. "Show me." But they led her to the bedroom and pointed to a corner of a wooden floor. There, barely visible, was a small intricate symbol. Amina took out her phone and snapped a picture, promising herself she would investigate its meaning. As she left the house, a nagging feeling tugged at her. There was something dark and mysterious at play, something beyond the realm of the ordinary. Determined to uncover the truth, Amina knew she was diving into a mystery that would test her limits and challenge everything she thought she knew about the world. Amina returned to her apartment with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The symbol carved into the floorboards was unlike anything she had seen before. She knew it was a crucial clue. She spent the evening researching ancient symbols, runes, and anything that might explain the strange carvings. Hours turned into early morning as she sifted through the papers of old texts and online forum. Finally, she stumbled upon a match. The symbol was an old Yoruba rune, often associated with protection and the spiritual realm. It was said to ward off evil spirits and misfortune. But what was it doing in Kemi's bedroom? And why had it appeared just before she vanished? Amina's mind raced with possibility. She needed expert advice. The next morning, she reached out to Professor Adekunle, a renowned anthropologist and an expert in Yoruba culture and folklore. She had interviewed him once for an article about traditional Yoruba beliefs, and he had left a strong impression on her. She called his office at the University of Lagos and he agreed to meet her that afternoon. Professor Adekunle's office was cluttered with books and artifacts and paper. He was an elderly man with kind eye and an air of wisdom that seemed to radiate from him. He greeted Amina warmly and listened intently as she described the symbol and the circumstances of Kemi's disappearance. When she showed him the picture of the ruin, his expression grew serious. "This is indeed a Yoruba protection symbol," he said. "It is used to create a spiritual barrier, but its presence in Kemi's home is unusual. It suggests that she felt threatened by something not of this world." Amina felt a chill. "What do you mean? Are you saying this is supernatural?" Professor Adekunle nodded slowly. "There are many things in this world that we do not understand, Amina. The Yoruba people believe in existence of spirits and other worldly beings. If Kemi felt she was being watched, it is possible she was under the influence of malevolent spirits." Amina's skepticism battled with her growing sense of intrigue. But why would the spirit target Kemi? And what happened to her? The professor sighed. "That I do not know, but I suggest you look into her past. Sometimes the answers lie in forgotten corners of her history." Leaving the university, Amina felt determined than ever. She decided to visit Kemi's family in Ibadan, hoping they might shed some light on her past. The drive to Ibadan was long, and the Nigerian sun beat down mercilessly. When Amina arrived at Kemi's childhood home, she was greeted by her mother, a warm but wary woman named Mama Funke. Mama Funke invited Amina in and served her a plate of jollof rice. "What brings you here, my dear?" she asked. Amina explained her investigation, showing Mama Funke the picture of the ruin. The old woman's eyes widened with recognition. "This symbol, it's from our family. My grandmother used it for protection against dark forces." Amina leaned forward, her interest piqued. "Did Kemi ever mention feeling threatened or seeing anything unusual?" Mama Funke nodded slowly. "When Kemi was a child, she would often say she saw shadow moving in the corners of her room. We thought it was just her imagination, but now she trailed off, her eyes filling with tears. Amina's mind raced. Do you think these shadows could have followed her? I don't know, Mama Funke whispered. But Kemi was always sensitive to such things. If she felt something was after her, she would have been right. Amina left Ibadan with more questions than answers. The connection between the ruin, Kemi's childhood experience, and her disappearance seems to point to something supernatural, something beyond the realm of ordinary crime. As night fell, Amina's car speed back towards Lagos. Her phone buzzed with a new email from an anonymous sender. The subject line read, Kemi's truth lies in the shadows. Meet me at midnight. Amina's heart pounded. The mystery was deepening, and she knew she was about to step into a world where the lines between reality and the supernatural blurred. The streets of Lagos were quieter than usual as Amina drove through the city, her mind racing with possibility. The email from the anonymous sender was cryptic, and she felt she had no choice but to follow the lead. At exactly midnight, she arrived at the location mentioned in the email, a deserted warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The warehouse loomed large and imposing, its structure old and weathered. Amina parked her car and approached cautiously. The only light came from the moon, casting eerie shadow on the building. She felt a shiver run down her spine but pushed forward. As she stepped inside, the smell of damp and decay filled her nostrils. She turned on her flashlight and swept the beam across the room. It was empty, except for a figure standing in the far corner. The figure stepped forward into the light, a woman dressed in traditional Yoruba attire with an air of authority about her. You must be Amina, the woman said. Her voice calmed, yet there was a power in it that made Amina instantly wary. Yes, I am. And you are? Amina asked, trying to keep her voice steady. I am Iyabo, a priestess of the Yoruba tradition, the woman replied. I have been expecting you. Amina's skepticism kicked in. How do you know about Kemi? And why did you ask to meet me here? Iyabo smiled faintly. I know many things, Amina. Kemi's disappearance is not an ordinary case. There are forces at work here that you do not understand. I can help you, but you must trust me. Amina might flash back to Professor Adekunle's words about the supernatural. Why should I trust you? Because, Yabo said, I was the one who carved the symbol in Kemi's room. I was trying to protect her. The revelation hit Amina like a punch. Why didn't you tell the police? Iyabo shook her head. The police do not understand these matters. They deal it they deal in the tangible, the visible. But Kemi's situation is different. She was targeted by a spirit, a very old and vengeful one. Amina's heart pounded in her chest. Why Kemi? What did she do to attract this spirit? Iyabo sighed. It is not what she did, but what she is. Kemi came from a line of women with strong spiritual connections. This spirit has been searching for a way to break into our world for centuries, and it found a way through Kemi. I may not struggle to process the information. Is there any way to save her, to bring her back? There is a way, Iyabo said, but it is dangerous. You will need to confront the spirit in its own realm. It is not to be easy, but you will need my help. Amina felt a surge of determination. She had come this far and she couldn't turn back now. I am willing to do whatever it takes. Iyabo nodded. Very well. Meet me tomorrow night at the old shrine in the forest. Bring something that belongs to Kemi. We need it to open the portal. As Amina left the warehouse, her mind was a whirlwind of thought. She was about to step into a world she barely understood, guided by a woman she barely knew. But one thing was clear: she had to find Kemi and bring her back, no matter the cost. The following night, Amina drove out to the forest, the darkness pressing in around her. She carried a necklace that Kemi always wore, hoping it would be enough. The old shrine was hidden deep within the forest, a place of ancient power and mystery. Iyabo was already there, preparing the ritual. She drew intricate symbols on the ground and placed candles around the shrine. As Amina approached, she handed the necklace to Iyabo, who nodded approvingly. "Are you ready?" Iyabo asked. Amina took a deep breath and nodded. "Yes, let's do this." The ritual began, and Amina felt a strange energy fill the air. The symbols on the ground glowed with an outwardly light, and the candles flickered as if caught in a breeze. Iyabo chanted in a language Amina didn't understand, her voice rising and falling in a haunting melody. Suddenly, the air around them shimmered, and a portal began to form. Amina's heart raced as she saw a glimpse of the spirit realm, a dark, shadowy place filled with whispers and movement. She stirred herself for what was to come. With a final chant, Iyabo completed the rituals, and the portal opened fully. "Step through," she instructed. "Find Kemi and bring her back." Amina took a deep breath and stepped into the portal, her resolve unshaken. She was about to face the unknown, but she knew she had to succeed. For Kemi's sake, and for the sake of uncovering the truth, she would confront the darkness head on. Stepping through the portal was like plunging into ice cold water. Amina felt a disorientating rush as she transitioned from the familiar world into the spirit realm. She emerged on the other side, surrounded by a landscape that defied logic, a twilight world of shifting shadows and airy whisper. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding, and the ground beneath her feet felt insubstantial, shifting like a sand underneath her weight. Amina's heart pounded in her chest as she looked around, trying to orient herself in this unsettling new environment. The spirit realm was a twisted reflection of the real world. Familiar landmarks appeared, distorted and ghostly, veiled in a dark, shimmery haze. Trees loomed like skeletal sentinels, and the sky was a whirling mass of dark cloud, casting an eerie, perpetual twilight over everything. The only source of light came from eternal orbs floating through the air, the glow casting long flickering shadows. Amina clutched Kemi's necklace tightly, drawing strength from the tangible connection to her friend. She took a deep breath and began to move forward, her step tentative and careful. As she walked, she listened for any sign of Kemi, calling out her name repeatedly. The air seemed to swallow her voice, but she pressed on, determined not to let fear overwhelm her. After what felt like hours, Amina heard a faint sound, a distant cry for help. Her heart leaped, and she quickened her pace, following the direction of the sound. The cry grew louder, more desperate, guiding her deeper into the heart of the spirit realm. She arrived at a clearing where she saw a figure huddled on the ground, surrounded by showery foam that seems to be feeding off its despair. The figure looked up as Amina approached, and she saw Kemi's face, pale and terror-stricken. "Kemi!" Amina shouted, rushing forward. The shadowy figure hissed and recoiled at her approach, their ominous steps dissolving into the darkness. "Amina," Kemi's voice was weak, filled with disbelief and hope. "Is it really you?" "Yes, it is me. Amina said, kneeling beside her friend. She helped Kemi to her feet, holding her tightly. I'm here to take you home. Kemi clung to her body trembling. I thought I'd never get out of here. It has been so long. Amina looked around wearily. We don't have much time. We need to get back to the portal before the spirit returns. Will they make it out of the spirit realm safely? Find out in the concluding part. Look out for part 2. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share, like, and press the notification button for more interesting and captivating story. See you in the concluding part.